Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. I hope that your week has started well and that your Tuesday is going well as well. It might be during the day where you are. Technically now, I'm in Wednesday morning here in the UK because it's very late in the evening, or technically very early in Wednesday morning. So hello everybody in that live chat room. Let me get you guys up on screen so we can see who is in the house tonight. And we can see that Carla's in there with Neil moderating, Laurie, Alison, Billy, Corey, Tammy was in there as well, Shorty Key, Debbie, Kevin, Casey, something, Linda, Lisa, Howard's in there, Robert, Billy again. So hello everybody. Thank you for joining me and getting involved in that live chat room. So let me get the names of my patrons up on screen because they make this all possible in the first place. And maybe it's going to be second time lucky with the names as they go across. We want to see sponsored by the Wings of Pegasus patrons, and there they are. So a huge shout out and thank you to these lovely people who really are the foundation of everything that I do. And a big shout out to the moderators in there in the live chat room that we saw going through. And I think Carla's about to go through as well. And you'll see Susan and Dennis in there as well. Their names are in blue. They have a wrench next to their names. And if you guys want to check out the guidelines, the terms, they're now in the description below, so you don't have to go over to wingsofpegasus.com in order to find those. So you can read those below. There are also live stream guidelines over at wingsofpegasus.com /live-stream. Now I did put this up on the screen, I think with the likes goal. So let's get that up on screen. Oh, there it is. Perfect timing. wingsofpegasus.com /live-streams. So yeah, you can head over there if you want any more information on the live streams and the pick roulette as well. So yeah, it is all over there. Oh, there you go. For roulette guide, head to wingsofpegasus.com /live streams. There you go. All the information is on screen. Right. Tonight's likes goal, we are aiming for 305. So if you could hit that thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be much appreciated. Let's get the likeometer up on screen to see where we are at the moment. 150. So it just changed as I was about to say it. So we are almost halfway, I believe. Oh, now we're over halfway. I was going to say 152.5 is what we were looking for to get to halfway. We're now over halfway. And look out for those double clicks. Sometimes it is something that I do actually. When I'm clicking my mouse, a double click turns into like a triple click, or a single click turns into a double click. And yeah, I mean, it's really annoying for things when you're trying to double click on something on the computer, but your first click registers and then you move your mouse and the second move now copies whatever you're clicking on to whatever window you're in. Something that happens to me all the time. It's really annoying. So yeah, look out for those double clicks because yeah, if you click twice, it'll go up by one, then back down by one, just kind of instantly. And that's what we do see sometimes with the likeometer. But 171, definitely a good start to tonight's live stream. And thank you patrons for requesting Greed to open up the live stream with tonight. Right, the cover video, let's mention that we're going to be listening to a little bit later on. It is between Carry On Wayward Son and Miles Away. And again, that's requested over on Patreon. And I think we had Miles Away pretty recently, but it's been requested again, so it makes it onto the list, even though Carry On Wayward Son currently has 65% of the vote, as I can see at the top of that live chat room. Now, as I always say, you don't have to donate during these live streams. Just tuning in is great. Maybe getting involved in the live chat room, introduce yourself, all of that cool stuff. Maybe leave a thumbs up. But for some people that can't resist donating, I do put up on screen the percentages which between 35 and 45% goes to YouTube through the Super Chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link, which you can find in the description below if you're looking for that. But yes, just being here is great, and it is great to spend a bit of live time with you outside of the analysis of videos that we do. So, right. Moving on, I think later we're going to be just having a look at one picture for tonight. We do have a pick roulette, so stay tuned for that. And on the channel, the last analysis video was Selena, and that was a singer that I had never heard of before, hadn't heard her music, and a lot of people couldn't believe it. And just looking at how popular she was, I understand why people can't believe it, but I did look into it and check that she hadn't released any music here in the UK, so certainly one of those artists that we didn't get to hear about, and because of the tragic end to her career and life, it meant that, sadly, we wouldn't be getting any more releases that hadn't already been released. And yeah, that's one of those stories that, especially when you're checking out a singer that you haven't heard of before, and then you realise that they lost their life so early on. I mean, it really was a tragic story, but you guys can check that out independently on the channel if you want to. That particular analysis video where we do the normal of analysing the voice, isolating it, putting it through pitch monitoring software, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's a great one to have a look at because she had such a great voice, but also for me to check out a new singer, somebody that I didn't know a lot about. So yeah, an interesting one that we looked at on Sunday. Right, we are going to be having another analysis video tomorrow night, and I've got this thing with Mugabe that I'm going to be doing soon, but the problem is that I'm just ridiculously busy at the moment. It seems like, I don't know whether it's because of being Easter or something, I don't know, but everything's kicking off at the moment, so just trying to keep up with everything's a bit of a challenge. And mentioning about things kicking off, we have now reached 296,000 subscribers. So thank you everyone for subscribing, hitting that notification bell, hitting the thumbs up, all of that cool stuff, because yep, we've reached, I mean, there's another crazy number. We'll keep on pushing forward, see where we end up. But of course, with every extra, well actually every extra subscriber, but with every 1,000 that we go up by, obviously that's more people watching the channel, which is great, but it also means more messages, more emails, and just more stuff to get done every day. So yeah, I think that probably the increasing subscriber count has something to do with why I'm just so busy all the time at the moment. But what I'll probably do, because the Mugabe thing is going to be something that I've got to complete within, I think, the next 2 weeks. So it is time sensitive as to when I sign the contract with them. So let me get rid of that and stop the people cheering. But yeah, because it is time sensitive, it means I have to do that within the next couple of weeks. And it might be the case that next week I jump into that and we'll have a normal kind of week this week, depending on whether I can keep up with everything. But yeah, I am aiming to do an analysis video for tomorrow night, so look out for that. We're definitely going to be doing the live streams. These are things that they don't change. Sometimes I might have to move things around during the week, especially if I'm really busy with like an interview video or something like that. But for the most part, those I tend to organise and keep you guys in the loop about. But the whole live stream thing always happens on a Tuesday night and a Saturday night, so you can catch me then live at 12 midnight Greenwich Mean Time, and I will always be there. So yeah, you can join me if you have a little bit of free time in your evening or your morning or your afternoon, whatever it is. When it's 12 midnight here, whatever the time is where you are, it would be great to have your company on Saturday as well. So I'm just going to jump into the donation that came in on the super chat window from David, who donated $5. So thank you for that, David. And that was a straight up donation. And just to mention, over on PayPal, we had a donation from Chuck. So thank you for that, Chuck. And it was a straight up donation of £2. So thank you for that one. And let me just go to the next one, because Tammy donated £10. Thank you for that, Tammy. And the message was, "Hi Phil, congratulations on hitting 296,000 subscribers. As a guitar player, if you could meet your beginner self for 1 hour, what suggestions would you give him? Keep on rocking." So thank you for that, Tammy. I'm not sure if I had an hour. I mean, an hour would be quite a long lesson, but I would probably, I mean, considering if I did go back and talk to myself as a beginner guitar player, I've now ruined my future and I wouldn't end up potentially where I am now, sitting here. So I'd probably be inclined to leave myself alone and just let myself find my own way of doing things and playing. I think I would certainly, not that I needed encouragement to kind of not get into scales and theory and modes and all that kind of stuff. I think that learning to play the way that I did learn to play, which is by listening and then just trying to play what I could hear, I find and have found that, later on in life, that seems to be, for me, for what I do, the best way to have learned to play the guitar. Because, I've played with other players that have been, technically very proficient and, theoretically very knowledgeable, but then when we just kind of jump into a jam and they don't know the chords, they really struggle. And it's almost like we've got to stop playing and tell somebody what the chords are. Whereas, as you guys know from the live streams, from the Phil jams, I just like to jump into stuff and just sing along with a song, sing along with a track, as I learned to do when I was younger. That's kind of how my brain started to interpret music that I was listening to. It interpreted it as a language rather than having to read it first. Because, for me, that's the way that music works, and that's just how I learned to do it. So I'd say to myself, don't worry about having to learn theory or get hung up on it at all, because what you're learning to do now is going to allow you to do a lot more in the future that you wouldn't have been able to do if you had to read something first, because then you're reliant on that. So you will need to know a chord. You'll need to know whether it's major or minor, and then you'll need to know the chord progression that you're going to play over, because then you'd have to literally load up your scale and go, oh, I know this scale, let me play all the notes from that scale. What's the next chord? Oh, I know that scale, let me play all the notes from the next chord. So that's not something that floats my boat, as you say, or as they say, that's what they say here. But it's not something that I find enjoyable, just playing through notes of a scale, knowing that they're going to fit with the chord. I kind of want to sing my own thing over the top of the chord, and then fortunately then later on in life I learned to sing so that I could sing the notes that I wanted to sing with my vocal cords rather than having to do it through the guitar the whole time. But I couldn't sing when I was younger, so that's why I approached playing the guitar in that way. So thank you for that, Tammy. I think to give another answer to the question, that it would have been too much information for myself to take in all at once. And I think that a huge part of playing the instrument for me, but for everyone, is the enjoyment of doing it. And I enjoyed finding out and learning my own way, and inadvertently learning to play particular shapes like pentatonic shape 1 and the extended shape. And I would be playing scales, but I didn't know that I was doing it. I just knew that the note that I want is going to be 2 frets higher, because I knew the gap. I knew the difference between the sound of a semitone and a tone, or at least I learned to start to appreciate that gap. So it meant that I could just play along with something on one string, but I'd be able to at least be able to sing the notes that I was singing in my head, but through the guitar, and find them on that particular string. To begin with, it would have just been one string that I was playing, and then started to figure out the relationship between the strings and find where the notes were that I wanted on those other strings. But anyway, thank you for that, Tammy. And we've had another donation that's come in from Richard, who's donated £38 and 32 pence. So thank you for that, Richard. Very kind donation there. It is a straight up donation as well. And there we have Cynthia, who's just popped into that PayPal window, who's donated £10. So thank you for that, Cynthia. And the message is, greetings, Phil. I saw the very first Phil Jam, but I can't remember why it came to be. We all love it. So thank you for that, Cynthia. And I can't even remember why we started doing that, how we started doing the Phil Jams. I know that I'm now using it as time for people to enter in for the pick roulette if we hit the pick roulette likes goal. I'm not sure whether we just decided to do that at the end for some reason. Whether, I don't know, did I just search for a backing track? I can't remember. Because now Joe sends me some backing tracks over on Patreon, and that's just what I kind of click on. But I think the problem with those is I haven't really been keeping a strict, I'm going to have to go through them, but a strict list of the ones that we've done, the ones that we haven't done. So I'll have a look later on tonight when we get into the Phil Jam as to the tracks that I recognise. I don't think I'm going to have time to kind of go through all of them and listen to them, so I'll just have to find one that I don't remember reading the message about that Joe sent. So yeah, we will do that. I don't know why they came about, but it's now part of the live streams, like the Phil tunes. I started playing those on the live streams and they became a thing, and that we now put Phil in front of Phil tunes and Phil Jam. And yeah, it's just a good little, I think, a good little side tracked thing that we can do on the live streams that for me is enjoyable as well, because I do enjoy just playing along with anything and everything. And we've had reggae, that's another genre that we can throw in. So we have kind of the prog rock, the metal, hard rock, and blues, of course. The jazz fusion, and reggae. So we tend to kind of cover everything, but this is the fun of it, just playing along to anything and just finding your own way through it, because everyone has a particular style. As you guys know, I play kind of hard rock and kind of a little bit of blues, but that's pretty much, I'd say, where my influences lie. But then having all the other genres, this is the great thing, that I don't play jazz, but you can still sing through your guitar over a jazz backing. It might not be particularly progressive or sound like you're throwing in arpeggios of different chords, because you don't know what the next chord is going to be. So yeah, if you want to throw in the arpeggio of another chord, gambling it's going to change, then go for it. But I mean, that is definitely going to end in tears if you are incorrect with the next chord that comes up. You're going to jump to an arpeggio that's totally irrelevant to the backing. So that's why, yeah, I like kind of playing along and shooting from the hip, and just literally having to chop and change every millisecond with what you're hearing. So that's what I enjoy doing. But thank you for that, Cynthia. Right, we can see that Tortoro Porco has donated $6.99 as well. Thank you for that. Oh, and the message is hair question. Okay, we hadn't mentioned hair yet, but here it is. Hair question. How much has your hairstyle changed over your lifetime, or were you born with pretty much the same hair that you have now? So thank you for that. I think it would be quite disturbing if I was born with this hair. Imagine that it was like this, but on a newborn baby with a fringe and everything. So yeah, no, when I was born, obviously, I didn't. Actually, some babies do have hair when they're born, but to my knowledge, my mum's never mentioned that I had a full head of hair when I was born. I'm trying to think. I mean, I only started growing my hair when I was 23, something like that. So maybe 22, 23. So yeah, it took about a year, maybe a year and a half to get it to a length at which it could then be layered. So it was kind of all the same length. So it would have looked really bad for probably about, 6 or 7 months. But yeah, from then on, I've just kept the same hairstyle. But I've mentioned before about my mum used to shave my head just with a shaver, because it saved money on haircuts. And yeah, that didn't always end well. And you guys will know the story. One time she forgot to put on the grading thing, which cuts it to a particular length. So it means my hair was really short, but the same length. And then she accidentally took it off and then did one side of my head, and it went down to, you know, literally like having a shaved head. So it looked like I had a receding hairline, because then she to make it look not as bad. Not as bad. I mean, and I know that I was self-conscious enough, and I was at secondary school, and I know that during this time I was walking to these sports lessons. So it meant that we were old enough to be given that responsibility, because it was probably about a 10 or 15 minute walk. So I'd walk with my friends to the sports that we had. And maybe we finished early one day. But anyway, I just remember walking, and my friends were walking the other way, and they said to me that I looked about 30 because of my hairline, because my mum shaved the other side to kind of look like I had a receding hairline to the same level. So yeah, there was me as a 12 or a 13-year-old kid with a very advanced hairline. So yeah, that was what I was doing when I was a teenager. I think maybe when I got to 18 or 19, I then grew it a little bit longer, but still quite short. When I was 20, 21, I still had it quite short. And yeah, by quite short, I mean I used to have it a little bit longer on the top and a little bit shaved at the sides, and then I'd use kind of hair gel or whatever to try and stylize it. What I would do now that I didn't know about back in the day, I always thought, because I didn't really know a lot about hair, I didn't know that you could buy hairspray. I just thought that you used gel. So I just used to buy hair gel because that's what I knew guys used. But if I had my time again, I would buy hairspray because it holds it in position. Because all the gel and obviously it makes it look like it's wet. So all the gel I was trying to use in order to keep it, or at least make it stay where I wanted it to stay, I didn't realise that I could have just sprayed it and didn't have to worry about all this gel going on. So yeah, that's one thing that I would advise myself about now. I mean, especially now with the hair being a little bit more wild, I definitely need to keep it out of my eyes. And I think we are getting closer to, and looking at, it looks like the camera's gone dark again, but with the hair, it looks like I'm going to be needing a haircut pretty soon because I'm starting to see my hair in front of my eyes again. So again, I think my hair seems to grow quite quickly as well. But in terms of my hair thickness, it's always pretty much been the same, that it's just been thick. So it hasn't been like now. Yeah, it just looks like it's kind of Lego hair because it's just totally black, the same color as my hoodie. But let me actually try and rectify this, see if we can make it a little bit lighter. Right, now you can see a little bit more definition in the hair. But yeah, my hair's always been a little bit on the thicker side, which I think comes from my mum's side. But then again, I think my granddad had hair even when he died. He had hair, and my granddad had quite a good innings. So I think once you're starting to get into your kind of 70s and your 80s, if you've still got a bit of hair, the back and the sides never goes, but if you've still got hair on the top, then I think you're doing quite well. Oh, we've gone dark again. We're just going to have to deal with it. But yeah, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I will have my granddad's hair and my dad's hair kind of isn't too bad. So I think, yeah, fingers crossed. But you never know with genetics. It's just something that can suddenly hit you the next week, and it can start falling out. But I do try and do everything possible to keep my hair from falling out because of all the stuff that I look into, and that thing that I mentioned about head massage, and the theory at the moment seems to be, at least the most recent theory is that, and I've mentioned this before, about the scalp as you grow older. I don't know why it gets tighter, but they say that your scalp gets tighter, and therefore because the skin is now stretched over your skull, it means that the blood can't get to the hair follicles where it used to, where it wasn't as stretched, it wasn't as tight, and therefore constricting the blood flow to the hair follicles. So this is what they say, that by massaging your scalp, and it takes about, I think, 6 months to have an effect, but by doing that, it loosens the scalp, and therefore the blood can go to the hair follicles where it used to. And they say that the reason that people who have lost their hair, it's almost like their head is shiny because it is so tight. It's being pulled tight over the skull. So yeah, I don't know why that happens. Whether maybe the skull, changes shape, or maybe just the skin becomes thinner and then therefore it's tighter and it's thicker when you're younger. But anyway, so that's the theory. So yeah, that's something that I've now started doing. I started doing that minoxidil stuff, which I'm still doing, and I still think that since starting that, even though it's supposed to stop you from losing hair, I started to shed more hair, and it was noticeable. After I'd have a shower and I'd dry my hair, there'd be hairs everywhere, and I still think that's happening. But it's supposed to work according to the science, so I'll keep on doing it. But yeah, I've now started trying to do the scalp massage to just keep the blood flowing, or just if I can keep my hair and all I have to do is massage my scalp, then I will do that. So anyway, let's get off the hair chat. So, thank you for that donation to Toro Porco. But for you guys out there that might have your hair still, but you're worried about losing your hair, and I think this is probably most guys in their kind of 20s or 30s, if you start to notice you're losing more hair, then I'd say, yeah, look into all the stuff that you can do to maintain your hair. Once it's fallen out, I think that's pretty much game over. You can't then regenerate your hair. You have to try and just keep your hair as it is and make sure that the hair follicles still get all the nutrients that they can do, rather than allowing your scalp to get too tight and then they start falling out because they're not getting the blood anymore. But anyway, I'm not an expert on hair loss or hair regeneration. All I'm doing is just looking at things on the internet, and it's called something like Perfect Hair Health. I think that's the site. The guy that talks about scalp massage and doing that, because he started to lose his hair, and then he started the scalp massage and started. I think he's younger than I am, pretty quite a lot younger, but maybe he's in his 30s. I'm not sure. But I say that I won't be able to say that for much longer. But yeah, from what he did and massaging his scalp, he then regained the hairs that had fallen out. So that's something that he's looking at in his community. And he looks at science-based things, and he is a peer viewer for scientific papers. So yeah, he's very much into the science of hair loss. But anyway, thank you for that question, Totoro Porco. Long answer to that one. So let me just quickly see what's going on in this PayPal window, because we've had another one, another donation from Marge for £2.30. So thank you for that, Marge. And just quickly on the hair loss, my nephews, their father, my brother-in-law, he doesn't have the best hair genetics. So one thing that I will, if my nephews start losing their hair, sometimes it can even happen in your late teens or in your mid-teens. For some people, if they ask me about hair, I'm going to give them all the information that I know about keeping your hair before it falls out, so that they have that information. So I think we are at the point now where if you have hair as a young person and you want to keep it, you can do. You now have a choice. You just need to know what to do. And, from what I've seen, the whole scalp massage thing makes sense to me. And it's something that, is being backed up by the science of people that have done it for 6 months and have not only stopped their hair loss, but have actually regained. One guy said that he regained probably 2 to 3 years worth of previous hair that he had lost over the last 2 or 3 years. And it seems to be the case that the longer you do it for, the better your hair becomes. I'm sure that you can't just grow back all of your hair, but because people haven't been doing it for like 30 years, who knows? But anyway, yeah, I will tell my nephews how to keep their hair if they want to, but I think it's just one of those things. Either you're bothered about it or you're not. So I would kind of prefer to keep my hair because I like the way that it looks, and it's just something that I've kept a style for quite a long time. Anyway, thank you for this, Marge, this donation. The message is, your discussion about buying guitar strings was a big help when looking for strings at a music store. I found Ernie Ball strings reasonably priced. My electric, acoustic, and my grandson's kids' guitars are all smiling with brand new strings. Thanks for the heads up. So no problem, Marge. And yeah, great for kids if they're learning to play, but just anyone learning to play the guitar. Make sure that you've got on strings that are going to be easier to play rather than just starting out thinking that, oh, guitar's going to be too hard to play because my fingers can't take it. It's, I'm getting blisters and it really hurts and all that stuff. Make sure that you start with light strings. And then if you like light strings, if you like how they feel, then just keep playing with them. You don't have to play with heavy strings. If you've got smaller hands and it's a little bit more difficult, just use those lighter strings. I do use Martin strings, extra light, I think, on acoustic. And those are 10 gauge strings. So I believe, I'm not sure whether they've changed the packaging. I think they have. They used to do them in the green package. For some reason now, I think it looks a little bit purple, the Martin extra light strings. So, but also you can have 9s, the Super Slinky, which are for electric guitar. So the Ernie Ball Super Slinky strings, electric guitar. But then for acoustic, you don't want to put electric guitars on acoustic because they're not designed to be played. If you do, you won't get a very good sound from your acoustic guitar. So make sure that you do buy acoustic strings, but just make sure that they are light, like the extra light Martin strings or any extra light strings, 10 gauge strings. Yeah, you'll be able to find. I just happen to buy Martin. That's the brand that I go for. So thank you for that, Marge. Right. 37 minutes past midnight here in the UK, and we are at 254 likes so far. We are, 51 away from hitting our target tonight of 305. So if you can hit that thumbs up, if you haven't done that yet, that would be much appreciated to maybe get a spike of the lights going on at 37 minutes past midnight. Make that 38 minutes past midnight now. So, we'll keep an eye on that likeometer. If we hit that likes total, then we will have a pick roulette next week. Right, let me give a plug of the mug. I haven't even done that yet. So here we go. And there we have it. If you want to get your hands on any of the Wings of Pegasus merchandise, head over to the spring.com store, which you'll find a link to in the description below, but you might have the tray underneath this video as well. If you have that, you can just click on any item and it will take you through to the spring.com store, and you can choose whatever you want from there. Wings of Pegasus zipped hoodie, as I've got on here, but t-shirts, mugs, caps, tumblers, all that kind of cool stuff. And you can also head over to wingsofpegasus.com/merch for Carla's merch that's over there. Wings of Pegasus picks and necklaces, earrings, all that kind of stuff. So 269, almost 270. So we are closing in on that likes goal. 270 as I say it. Right. Let's have a look at that vote. It looks like Carry On Wayward Son is going to be the one that maybe wins out. I have said before on the live streams how when one of them goes into the lead, especially by 16%, it's going to be very difficult to then return that back. If you are a Miles Away or a Winger fan or a fan of the song Miles Away, then unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be your night tonight. But I think we did hear that. Was it a few streams ago? It seems like it's really recent, but I kind of lose all concept of time with what I'm doing and how busy things are as to how long that was. But Miles Away by Winger. Kip Winger, of course. We did listen to, I think, relatively recently. But it looks like we're going to be listening to Carry On Wayward Son. We are going to be jumping into that maybe soon. I tell you what, we will jump into I'm just going to end the poll, even though we know there's going to be Carry On Wayward Son, because in the time that I was speaking and the time that I clicked end poll, it's not going to have changed. So we're going to take a look at Carry On Wayward Son. While that is playing, I might have a quick look through the Q&A. That's something that we can maybe jump into. Then we still have the pick roulette. We have that picture to look at, and then we'll have the fill jam, all that kind of cool stuff before the end of the live stream. So I hope you guys enjoy this. It's my version of the Kansas Classic, and I'll catch you guys after. Rock! Okay, Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. Let's do this. Rock! Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. As I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion, I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming. I can hear them say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Oh no. Masquerading as a man with a reason, my charade was the event of the season. If I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. On a stormy sea of moving emotions, tossed around I'm like a ship on the ocean. I set the course for winds of fortune, but I hear the voices say, carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Carry on, you will always remember. Carry on, nothing equals a splendor. Now your life's no longer empty. Surely heaven waits for you. Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. And there we have it. I don't know why it didn't come back to me at the end there. I clicked the button, nothing happened, got a bit of a delay, but we are back. Almost had a delay with saying delay. So, I don't know why that reminds me of, I'm not sure, is it Spinal Tap? There's something where the person is supplying their own delay to their voice by saying the same thing over and over again after they say it. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it's a very Spinal Tap-esque thing to be doing. But anyway, thank you guys for voting for that particular cover video for tonight. I think Kevin said in the live chat room that it might not have been possible to vote while the Q&A is up there. So what I'm going to do is have a scroll up, see if I can find where the result was, because usually it says how many people, wow, there's lots of comments, how many people have voted. Yeah, 232 votes. So let me go back down again. So It means that a lot of people did vote. It seems like that all went through okay. Oh, look, my arrow's still on here. I can click on people, and I won't click on people because it'll ruin everything. The screen will probably disappear. The other thing that I thought when watching the cover video, I thought, oh yeah, I'll have a look at the Q&As, pick out a few questions. But then I realised that as soon as I do that, when we do go to the questions, it now gets rid of the live chat room, as you can see, and it all disappears. So, yeah, let's just see where this has ended up. Reed says, hello, Phil from Nashville. Is there an artist that you desire is moving and or would accept an offer to join his or her backing band to go out on the road on tour? Thank you, Reed. So thank you for that question. Or maybe I can put this back to the live chat room while I answer it. There we go. Right, so this is something that I've been asked before, whether I'd be interested in joining somebody else's band or being part of the backing band and potentially touring with another band. And the thing is, at the moment, I'm too busy with my own music and sending off my albums and doing these live streams, everything that I've got going on the channel. So it means that I'd very much have to put my own music and my own, album sales and sending off my album on hold. So the people that are ordering my music and, might want a signed album, for example, which I send all the albums out from here. It means that if I was out on tour for 6 months, people buying my music wouldn't receive their music or their orders for over 6 months. So yeah, I think for what I do, I'm kind of too busy with my own stuff. And, I'm sure there are people that don't have their own music or their own albums and stuff, and they'd love to play for a particular band. But I don't really see myself in that position. I mean, if I was invited to play for a night, I don't have a problem doing that because it means I can reorganize things for that particular evening, and then I can perform with said artist or help them out with a track or two. But it's not something that I would just leave everything that I'm doing here to then go out on tour, because what I'm doing here, as I've said many times in the past, it's just me doing it all. So this is something that has been a part of my life for, especially over the last kind of 3 or 4 years where things have really taken off. Then keeping up is really difficult. But since the age of 19, really, I've been doing something every day to try to get to a point where I can do music as a full-time career. So that's I'm talking about very soon to be over 20 years now of literally plugging away at it every day, and to then kind of leave all of that to go and effectively work for somebody else. I like to be my own boss. I like to be in control of everything. And you might join a band and think, oh yeah, I love this band, I love playing their music, but then you might not get on actually with the drummer or the bassist, even though you think that you will. And then being on tour and playing other people's music all the time, and also they might be writing new songs and I wouldn't have any input in that. Or, when I am playing, certainly they wouldn't want another person to come along and play for them, but then start taking their publishing rights. So, it's a very complicated thing, but I don't see myself in that position to go and play for another band or another artist because, I'd rather just stick with what I'm doing, in the same way that they're just doing what they do. It's just something that is just equal in the music industry. You focus on your own goals and your own career and try to reach those goals. And my goal was always to try and do music full time and ideally, be in control of everything myself, which is the case at the moment. So I have managed to reach that goal. And lots of artists and bands just have a goal of, this is not something that I'm interested in, but just have a goal of getting signed and then, going out on tour. But for me, I'm not really interested in that because I know that signing over, publishing rights is a huge part of being signed. So once you have done your album, you go out on tour and you might do 2 or 3 albums after that. You have to evaluate, right, well, what have I got for the last 3 years of work? And generally, unless you were a huge selling artist, like one of the top 5, if you've sold enough, then you might be able to live off, or from the money that you've earned over those 2 or 3 years. But if you were just signed to even a major label and you toured, after those 3 years, you might have a little bit of money that's going to help. But I've mentioned this before about a band that I knew that did very well, and they won awards, so they were very much in the public eye for 3 years. They had 3 albums, and at the end of that, the lead singer went away with £15,000. So that's about $10,000 for 3 years' work. So everything was paid for. All of the expenses were paid. But then once you finish, you then say, right, well, where's my money? And they say, oh, here it is, and it's £15,000. I'm sure that I know that he expected more than that after 3 hours and selling multiple millions of albums and winning awards for said albums. But this is the thing, that when you sign over your publishing rights, when you sign over your royalties, everything that's happening over those 3 years, you're not really getting any money from. You might get a tiny percentage of it, but when I say tiny, I mean tiny. So yeah, I'm not interested in that. I'm quite happy just selling an album and making the full amount for that album so that I don't have to sell millions, but I can sell enough to do it full time. So yeah. Anyway, thank you, for the question. And we are now into the live chat room. So we are pretty close to tonight's likes goal of 305. We're looking for any thumbs up that we can muster. 8, is that? I think that we're looking for 297 is what we're on, and we're looking for 305. So we're getting pretty close to the total. Right, let's jump into the picture. So we can then jump into the pick roulette. I don't want to forget the picture before we get into the pick roulette. So let me get that up on screen to see the background, which I can then put the picture over the top of. And we have Laura and Robin, who, Laura has sent this in. So thank you for this, Laura, who also links me to the different pictures that are at the Wings of Pegasus supporters page over on Facebook. So yeah, thank you for this. And they're just about to check out the Eagles performing live. So yeah, thank you for uploading that one, Laura. And for Robin, looks like Robin might be on camera duties there. So thank you for uploading that one. If you guys want to upload any pictures of yourself with any merchandise, any Wings of Pegasus hoodies, modelling, a t-shirt, all that kind of stuff, then you can head over to the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. You can also, if you're not a Facebook user, you can also email Carla, and Carla does link me to pictures as well. And Carla's email is many moons ago in 1965 at yahoo.com. It's one of those emails that, because it's got a number in that, I can potentially always mess up the number, but I think that was correct. I'm sure that if you message Carla on that email, it will be fine. It will get through to her. So yeah, a couple of ways to get your pictures to me. Right, let's jump into tonight's pick roulette. Haven't picked a top tip yet, so I'm going to have a little look into the live chat room. As always, let me know if you want to be the top tip for tonight. I'll have a look in there and we'll jump into the pick roulette. So good luck, everyone, and I'll see you guys in a second. Rock! So let's get the roulette wheel up on screen, and there it is. Right, let's have a little look into that live chat room. And I think Barbara says pick me, but I think Barbara's been the top tip at least once, or keeps on asking to be the top tip after being the top tip. So I'm going to pick somebody else. Mike Jetson is going to be the pick, or the top tip for the pick roulette. And I'm not sure if I'm spelling that correctly. I'm just making a note of, Mike Jetson, like the Jetsons. That was a cartoon that was on when I was younger, but I never really used to watch it. I watched the Flintstones. I didn't watch the Jetsons. What other stuff did we have? I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I've already spoken about that show, which I can never remember what it was called, but it was, you know, people on an alien planet, and there's like a big robot that used to walk around with them, and he had like almost like tubes as arms with like claws on the end. Oh, I almost got it there, because last time in the live chat room you guys told me what that was called, and I couldn't remember. Oh, I can't think of it. Anyway, yeah, you guys can remind me again in the live chat room. Anyway, let's jump into the pick roulette. If this is your first pick roulette, it's not this one, because this is the pick roulette, that other one with the t-shirt roulette. If we land on one of these segments, the darker segments, then we do have a t-shirt roulette, which is the wheel you just saw. But if we land on a name, then they go away with the signed wings Pegasus pick in the middle of the screen. So let's give it, and there we go, Lost in Space, Corey says. So thank you for that. I'm going to have to remember that, because for some reason it just doesn't stick in my memory that that's the name of the show. But yeah, so I used to watch that when I was younger, as well as I'm gonna have to think of it in a second, because the wheel is coming to a halt. And where's Mike's name? Can't see Mike's name coming up, so I don't think we're gonna land on that. It's gonna be, is it gonna get as far as Judy? Maybe Suzanne. It is Judy who is the winner for tonight, so congratulations to you, Judy. If you can let yourself be known to Carla in the live chat room, that'll be much appreciated, so that she can get everything that she needs from you in order to send you that signed Wings of Pegasus pick. And as I always say, you have to be in it to win it. And what I mean by that is you have to be in the live chat room when your name appears on screen. Because if you're not in it, and there's a special big arrow to signify that if you're not in it, then you can't win it. You have to be here when your name appears. So congratulations to you, Judy, and commiserations to everybody else, including Mike. So let's get everything back to me. And I've got this show in the back of my mind, which is really annoying, because I know that this is another show that I mentioned last time, but Quantum Leap. There you go. I knew I had the title of the show in the last live stream that I spoke about, you know, things I used to watch as a kid, but for some reason Quantum Leap just didn't get into my head then. Anyway, let's move on with tonight's live stream, because we have, I do believe, hit our likes goal. We are at 321. Of course, if you are watching this in the future on catch up, you can still hit that thumbs up. It really helps the live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow on the whole. But we can now open the entries for next week's pick roulette. And I think usually we do this at about 1 a.m, a little bit later, so we're a little bit ahead of schedule tonight. So what I'm going to be doing is, right, I'm going to type at Carla Murray, I agree, exclamation mark. So now what you have to do to get your name on next week's pick roulette wheel is do exactly what I've done. Make sure you tag Carla in your comment and type it exactly as I have typed. It has to be at, and then a capital C for Carla, then a space, capital M for Murray, and then I agree, either in capitals or not in capitals, with an exclamation mark, doesn't matter. But the important bit is that you have to type at Carla Murray, spell it all correctly, and then type I agree, and then do an exclamation mark if you want. You'll see that everyone's doing that, because if you don't do it exactly right, it means that Carla doesn't get tagged in that post. So it means that she then can't see your entry for the wheel. And another important point, only enter in once, because multiple entries unfortunately will cancel your entry onto that pick roulette wheel. So just one entry per person. That is the important point to bring up. But yeah, just I can see that everyone's doing it in the live chat room, about to go through. So yeah, copy what everybody's doing here. if you haven't entered into for the pick roulette. Right, let's jump into the fill jam. I mean, if it's a long one, we'll be able to fit it in to the end of the live stream. But if it's a short one, then we might have time for something else, like a fill tune. Or I'm trying to think what else. Oh, yeah, the riff of the week thing. We used to do that for a little while, but then, yeah, this is the problem. We've got so many things we do in the live streams now that we run out of space or time to do anything. But let me try and find this from Joe. And I can't remember which ones. Last time we did a jazz fusion one. I think I've done all the hard rock, all the 80s ones. The blues ones, there's only a couple of. So I think we've done both the blues ones. In the prog list. I remember doing the epic one. This one says a nice mellow one, well suited for melodic phrasing, almost a lullaby. So this is what Joe has said about it. I think I'd remember about a lullaby. So I don't think we've done this one. Let's click on it.
So basically,
and mute that advert. Let that play through. Thankfully, it's only for 5 seconds. I can skip over that. Okay, right. Yeah, I don't know what the levels are going to be like on this. And this is coming from Elevated Jam Tracks, which is a channel that we have done before and bought tracks from before in the past. It's dreamy, ethereal ballad guitar backing track jam in C. So yeah, Elevated Jam Tracks. That's the site that we're about to listen to. And I don't know why ethereal, ethereal. I don't know why ethereal. My brain is giving me lots of different pronunciations of that. But anyway, that is what we're going to be listening to. We'll move on to grabbing the guitar and see what we've actually got going on here. Oh, and let me adjust the seat so that I can get as much height as possible to see the guitar. And I do kind of try and... This is the other thing, that I do kind of lift my leg up to make it a bit more visible. So all of these things to contend with when you're playing, remembering to lift your leg up. But hopefully you guys can see it. And let me put that away so we don't accidentally go on any strings. As for the levels, who knows what's going to happen. But let's have a listen to this and see how I get on. Oh, that was a bit loud. I didn't even check the guitar. So hopefully you guys can hear that. Down a bit too much. agree. Tag Carla Murray in your comment in order to get your name on next week's Pick Roulette. And we've got a lot of chord changes here, so it's interesting because it takes you to a different place when you're just ending a phrase. Let's get back into it. I'm going to let you know, when I was going up here, my strap kind of got stuck around my hand, or around my wrist, and I couldn't move properly. So I had to try and just hopefully get through that so nobody would notice. But I mean, that's the problem with having a strap on your guitar and not using it, is your hand can actually get caught in it behind the neck. We'll keep on going. How long does this last for? Oh, it is quite a long one. It's 10 minutes and 36 seconds. Still got a bit of time left, so we'll keep on going. Hopefully not getting stuck to, affect the playing too much. We'll keep on going. Up a little bit. the end here. Oh, we've got like a minute left. Type I agree, tag Carla Murray in your post to get yourself on next week's Pick Roulette wheel. Let's open up the taps a little bit. And it did finish there. We were correct. And you can hear the amount of sustain I had there just died straight away. But that's the thing. And actually, kind of, I think it went with the backing track a little bit better. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me tonight on the live stream and for hitting that thumbs up as well, getting ourselves to that likes goal and having a pick roulette next week. Because, yeah, it's all a little bit more interesting when we get to look at you guys on the screen, even if it's only your names, to see your names on the screen and to have a winner. So, yes, congratulations to Judy, who was tonight's winner. Hopefully, Judy, you are there in that live chat room and were there in order to then claim your prize of the signed Wings of Pegasus pick. Right, I'm going to be here again tomorrow night with another analysis video. Oh, let me just quickly get through those donations that came through, because Time to Relax donated £2. Thank you for that. And the message was, could you do a quick Purple Rain riff? So, thank you for that. And, I mean, this is something that is quite complicated from a copyright point of view, because there have been some people I know of on YouTube who have literally played a little bit of a song and then had a copyright claim or even a copyright block on their live stream or their videos just for playing a little bit of a particular song. So I try to stay away from playing very well-known riffs or songs on my guitar unless it's something that's already been copyright claimed, such as the riffs of the week. But anyway, thank you for that donation. And we had another donation that came through, and it is Susan, who has donated £50. Thank you for that, Susan. And yes, Susan is back again. So great to see you. Thank you for joining in again on the live stream. And the message is, happy early birthday. I did not wish to miss it this year. Thanks for all you do. So yes, no problem, and thank you for the birthday wishes. Still got a bit of a while, but I say a bit of a while. My maths, yeah, okay, it's closer than I thought it was. So this is the problem, the days just seem to disappear, and before I know it, I probably would have had my birthday and then it would have gone. But I know that my family won't let that happen. They won't let me forget about this birthday. We'll probably do something, nothing extravagant, because that's not really how we roll, but maybe have go out for a meal somewhere or have some takeaway, something like that. But anyway, thank you, Susan, for that donation. And yeah, again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you again tomorrow night. I'm going to be live streaming on Saturday night again. So yeah, tune in then if you do get a chance. 12 midnight Greenwich Mean Time, as always. Have a great rest of your week. Huge thanks to the moderators for doing such a fantastic job, and try and stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live in. Not even getting into it, I just had the flash in my mind of, in the news now, we've got this Donald Trump thing, so it's being widely reported even here in the UK about everything that's going on in the USA. But let's not start with that. But I'll just continue to say, try to stay as sane and as safe as possible in this crazy world, which it is, a crazy world which we live in. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!